Hello everyone, and we've got some news today. Creative Assembly posted a 6.3 dev blog without even letting the creators know, which is pretty interesting. But it seems that the full notes are going to be posted this Friday. However, there seems to be quite a lot of information here regarding the little updates to each of the races. So let's talk about that because, yeah, I mean, some of these changes look pretty damn good. So the Tomb Kings are being brought in line with Warhammer 3. Whilst being one of the best DLCs that Creative Assembly have released, they're just trying to update them a little bit. As you can see here, technology, landmarks, and so on. We're going to be jumping onto all this because there's quite a lot of details here. But the main thing is here, at least, that confederations can now be possible. As you can see on the chart below, if you're playing as Arkan, you can get Khalida and Kantep. If you're playing Khalida, you can get Kantep. If you're playing as Kantep, you can get Khalida. And if you're playing as Cetra, you can get Khalida and Kantep. This is through defeating them in battle, kind of like how it goes with the Norskins. But there's also Mortuary Cult will allow you to be able to confederate some of them. I like this idea. Arkan obviously not being able to be confederated by anyone makes sense. Nagash is someone that we're expecting later down the line. And, I mean, Cetra is Cetra. He doesn't serve. He rules. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of like this. Personally, I would have said that you'd be able to confederate Cetra, but then your faction would turn into Cetra's faction. But, yeah, I mean, this works. This definitely works. Most people play Cetra anyway because of the memes. This is cool. I like this idea. Alright, canopic jars can now be gained from battle kills, so this is similar to like meat, saves for the Ogre Kingdoms and Dark Elves. That's cool. That's actually about time. I think canopic jars have been a very slow grow for Tomb King players. And you can also spend them on Nehekaran decrees to get a quick cash injection, some research rates, or Garrison Sally. So this is going to be kind of like the pleasurable axe for the Sinesh faction. And they've added some new banners for the Mortuary Call. Yeah, I mean, this is great. Yeah. This is going to make the Tomb Kings go a little bit faster. I've seen a lot of people complaining that it's too slow. Skills. We've given all characters at least one skill. Tomb King princes now have another path they can choose. Dynasty or Legendary Lords also have a skill, Never Say Die, which removes wounds attribute. Something different for each character type. Okay, yeah, I mean, that works. The idea here is going to be allowing for players to get the characters to last a little bit longer. I do wonder what the path is going to do. Maybe it's just going to be some new skills to essentially bring in what would have been a herald, just making the prince either a buffer or a melee type character. Technology tree. Okay, there's been some changes here. Plenty of changes have gone on here, ranging from a decrease to the research penalty dynasty technologies incur, as well as adding some unique effects alongside additional technologies that increase unit capacities. Several general rules the Tomb King's tech tree now has. The 6 dynasty techs, Wisdom of the X Dynasty, have lower penalties to your research rate, and now each has an additional effect. Each dynasty has a small increase for unit capacities, typically +2 for non-large units, and +1 for the large ones. And hero capacity increase now also increases the recruit rank of that hero. Great. That's great. Yeah, I'm super happy about that. So we've got a little example there, which Wisdom of the 5th Dynasty increases army capacity +1, research rate -20, rather than I think that was 25 before, control +2. And then when you go here, it's Vanguard deployment for the Knights and Stalkers, passive ability, Wayfarer for both. Yeah, okay, yeah, that doesn't sound too bad. Books of Nagash have been changed slightly, where they're finally going to fix up the locations. Oh my god. So yeah, you can see an example on screen where the books for Khalida have now been centralized a little bit more closer to her, and I think that's going to do wonders for the game, because there are certain times I've done campaigns where I've just literally not gotten every book. I would like to, but there is literally no point me going to Ulthuan, for example. So this is great. They've also changed up some effects. So they are going to be there with Dune Restoration. Chance for destroyed constructs to be restored after battle, and hit points to be restored. Interesting. I mean, that makes sense. That's a really good change, actually. Because a lot of people do like Doom stacking the constructs. I think it's the better units that you've got access to. Yeah, this is a good change. There's also a change coming to the pyramid effects. So apparently they were not worth getting to. Yeah, it's true. They were a bit too expensive and they didn't really provide so many bonuses. So here they say we've changed that with some unique effects, such as giving the Great Pyramid of Cetra, now giving the expendable trait to Skeletal Warriors, Skeletal Spearmen. The Pyramid of Alcadizar now gives physical resistance when fighting against vampire counts. Meanwhile, the City of Bronze, you can now get sniped for Shapti Great Bows. Okay, yeah, this is going to be better. At the end of the day, the pyramids were kind of crap. You wanted them for the sake of completionism, but sometimes they were too expensive. If they're going to be providing some faction-wide bonuses, that's going to really, really make them much more worth it. The Lizardmen tech tree has been changed. I haven't shown this full thing, but that awful pyramid scheme thing is gone. Now it's focused more traditionally, with most of the building requirements removed. There are still some. It does look a lot better though. This does look like it's going to be easier to handle, and you're not going to be suffering without being able to do some tech early into your campaign. Nakai still has his bonuses and so on. There are new effects, it has been confirmed, but they haven't really gone about that information just yet. There is some definite improvement here though. This does look a lot better. So we've got some more information here. First up with the economy, where the resource buildings now provide some treasury, which is good. In the building section, there's been a lot on number nudging, increasing, decreasing some numbers or small amounts. Plenty of the values didn't seem right in Warhammer 3, so building costs, construction times, and outputs have been changed across the board. In addition to that, we've added another tier to the Dreadsaurian chain, having increased the cap of 1 per province. Oh, okay, that's not too bad. After all, Lizardmen are the oldest, so they've been there for a long time. I doubt they only have 1 Dreadsaurian for every 100 square miles. Yeah, that's great. That's good to have more Dreadsaurians coming across the table. A lot of the dinosaurs now have Warbreaker, which is about time, excluding Croxigors. This should be good for sieges, as we do know that Siege Attacker is getting removed across the board. So yeah, that's not too bad. And then skills, okay. Almost every unique skill for Lizardmen has been closely looked at, with some getting a replacement new effect. Okay, so heroes now have access to minor blessings available to them, smaller versions of the Lord's Blessing. Lord Nazdamundi now starts with Soul Quench in campaign. And finally, all heroes gained additional skills, and their capacities and rank are now being brought in line with that of races we have done full reworks and DLCs for. Okay, so I'm pretty much expecting there's not going to be like any future Lizardmen changes, which is fine. I think this is going to be good overall, just to have some changes up and running. Okay, so this is pretty cool news. A bunch of new blessed units have been introduced for the Lizardmen. So this means that, yeah, the entire roster has been added in. That's kind of cool. It gives you more use of them. I like this. Yeah, this is nice. And they're also looking at the spawning system. The button is always available, but recruiting the blessed units will now require the use of spawning sequence, which can be earned with missions, commandments, and performing rituals. Rituals like sacrifice to Sotek and Nakai's temple rituals add 1 to your pool, in addition to giving resource. Okay, so this is going to work like a mercenary function, I guess? Well, not exactly, but you know what I mean. I think this is going to be better for Lizardmen players, especially since it can get very, very hectic in Lustre at the moment. Thanks to the addition of Skulltaker, this should make things a little bit better. There has been a trait rebalance, which is really nice to see. Basically, they've just kind of updated them to bring them more in line with Warhammer 3 for generic characters, and also for Alberic. Poor Alberic. So yeah, this is kind of cool. You can see experience gain for Determined, which is really, really nice. Some extra hit points. Fleet-footed now provides Wayfarer. Just in general, Virtue of the Disciplined provides a lot of nice bonuses there with Glorious Charge for Knights of the Realm. Intelligent, again. Yeah, this is good. There are no complaints here. I think that this is overall going to be lovely changes. Chaos Familiar is now getting a massive bonus, which I'm really happy about. Keymaster is going to be insane. Yeah, this is great news. This is really good news. I wonder how many are being changed. Like, they say a decent amount, so hopefully we'll see a big list when it comes to the patch notes. Greenskins are getting a skill update, and this is going to be quite exciting considering that Night Goblin War Bosses, Goblin Big Boss, Black Orc Big Bosses, and River Troll Hags are finally getting some changes. This is something that everyone expected for Omens of Destruction. They even mentioned that, but they apparently didn't update it. They didn't have time or whatever. Yeah, this is great. This is great. I think it's something that's going to be very useful. Greenskins are fairly popular. I've been enjoying a greenskin campaign lately, so I'm happy about this. This is something that I wasn't really expecting, but yeah, we have 20 new unusual locations, which should make things a little bit better. If some of you have been playing your campaign, you'll notice that for some reason the Nash unusual location keeps popping up over and over. So yeah, I mean, that's 20 new ones. They're going to be spread around the world. I'm really, really happy about that, just finally getting added in. We've got some nice information here. The Cult of the Purple Hand is getting one, which is really, really cool. You never know, something Tzeentchian across the board one day. The Faulty Doomsphere, oh god, yeah, this is going to be cool. Cult of the Crimson Skull. Yeah, they're even doing some throwbacks to some pretty old lore. Yeah, I'm surprised. I think that's probably the best way to say it. I am surprised. Okay, some big news for the audio stuff. Obviously, we do know that Wolfric and Frog have had new voice lines, but now Alberic is going to get some too, which is great because I think he was just using generic stuff. Actually, it's confirmed here. Yeah, he's just using the generic stuff. What's really interesting is in that last big paragraph there, it's like we have also recorded a new Bretonnian Lord to ensure there's no content lost, only chivalry gained. So maybe Christoph is now only Alberic, or they've gotten a new one there for... I don't know. This sounds odd. Yeah, my interpretation here is Christoph is only going to be Alberic, and they've gotten a new voice actor for the generic Bretonnian Lords. At least I think so. And then perhaps some of the biggest news here, they are stopping that stupid requirement to link up to a CA account to get the FLC content, which is really, really good. This means that as long as you own the relevant content towards these FLCs, you'll get them in the game, which is fantastic. I cannot be happier about this because you'd be surprised how many times people would be like, hey, I see you using this unit, but I don't have access to it. It's like, oh yeah, you need to link up to the CA account, and sometimes that server bugs out, and oh, it's awful. So yeah, this is good to see. I'm really, really happy about this. There's been some stuff that I haven't really talked about here, which is just basically like faction tinting or camera blood spatter, but I think that's not really as big news as gameplay changes here. Overall, these look like great, honestly great changes. We're going to have to wait and see how everything looks when the patch releases. But we are getting the patch notes, the full patch notes this Friday, so I can't wait to see what's going to happen there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let's start a bit of a discussion. I do apologize if I sounded a bit rushed. I am running around today. I have 50 million things to do and not enough time. Seriously, not enough time. Have a great day, everyone. See ya.